The message arrived at exactly 11:57 p.m. on Christmas Eve. It wasn't meant for anyone important. It wasn't even meant to be heard. It was just a single dad, alone in a dark apartment, recording his voice because silence hurt too much. And somehow, the whole world would end up listening. I never planned to be a single father. People say that line like it's dramatic, but it's just the truth. One day, you're building a future with someone, picking baby names, arguing over paint colors, dreaming out loud. Then one day, the future disappears, and you're left holding a tiny hand, wondering how you're supposed to be both parents at once. My name is Daniel Carter. I was 34 when my wife, Emily, passed away. Cancer doesn't knock politely. It storms in, rearranges your life, and leaves without cleaning up the mess. In less than a year, Emily went from laughing in the kitchen to whispering from a hospital bed. Our son, Noah, was 5. Too young to understand why Mommy was tired. Too young to understand why Daddy cried in the shower. After the funeral, people brought food. They hugged me. They said things like, "You're so strong," and "She's in a better place." Then, slowly, they went back to their lives. I stayed. I stayed in the apartment with the peeling paint and the broken heater. I stayed with overdue bills taped to the fridge. I stayed with a little boy who woke up screaming some nights, calling for a mother who wasn't coming back. Money ran out faster than sympathy. I worked 2 jobs, days at a warehouse, nights driving deliveries. My hands were always sore. My back always ached. But Noah needed food, shoes, a warm coat, and more than anything, he needed me not to fall apart. Christmas that year felt cruel. Everywhere we went, lights sparkled, stores played cheerful music, families laughed, couples held hands, and every decoration felt like it was mocking us. "Daddy," Noah asked one evening, looking up at a huge Christmas tree outside a mall, "do you think Mommy can see this from heaven?" I swallowed hard. "I think she sees everything, buddy. Do you think she knows we miss her?" "Yes," I said. "I'm sure she does." At home, our Christmas tree was a small plastic one I'd found at a thrift store. Half the lights didn't work. The ornaments were mismatched. But Noah smiled like it was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. That smile kept me alive. On Christmas Eve, after Noah finally fell asleep on the couch with his blanket wrapped around him, I sat at the kitchen table. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the fridge. I opened my phone. I didn't know why. Maybe I just needed to talk. Maybe I needed proof that my voice still existed. I hit record. "This is probably stupid," I whispered. "But I guess this is my Christmas message. To anyone listening, if anyone is." My voice cracked. I paused, took a breath. "I'm a single dad. My son's asleep right now. He thinks Santa's coming, even though I don't know how I'm going to make that happen. But he believes. And I guess I'm trying to learn how to believe again, too." I stared at the table. If you're alone tonight, you're not broken. If you're tired, you're not weak. If you're barely holding it together, you're doing better than you think. I wiped my eyes with the sleeve of my jacket. Wherever you are, Merry Christmas. I hope next year is kinder to you than this one was to me. I ended the recording. I didn't post it anywhere important, just uploaded it to a small social media page I barely used. Then I turned off the lights and slept on the floor next to Noah. The next morning, he woke me up by jumping on my chest. "Daddy, Santa came." I sat up too fast. My heart raced. On the small table by the tree were 3 wrapped gifts, My hands started shaking. I guess he did, I said softly. Noah tore into them with joy. A used toy truck, a coloring set, a warm winter jacket that was exactly his size. He hugged me. This is the best Christmas ever. I smiled. What I didn't know was that while I was watching my son play, my phone was lighting up. My message had been shared. A few hundred times, then thousands. Comments poured in from strangers. People thanking me. People crying. People saying they felt seen for the first time in years. By evening, it had crossed 1 million views. That's when she heard it. Her name was Claire Whitmore. Most people knew her as the CEO of Whitmore Industries, a self-made billionaire, one of the most powerful women in the country. She ran companies that employed tens of thousands. She was on magazine covers. She gave speeches about resilience and leadership. But that Christmas Eve, Claire was alone too. Her penthouse was silent. Her phone was full of messages she hadn't answered. Success had given her everything except the one thing she couldn't buy back: family. When my voice came through her speakers, she stopped walking. She listened. She sat down. And by the time I said, "If you're barely holding it together, you're doing better than you think," tears streamed down her face. Because 10 years earlier, she had said almost the same words to a man standing in the snow outside a hospital. A man she had never forgotten. The next week, my life shifted in a way I didn't understand yet. I received an email from a private office. It looked fake, like a scam. "Mr. Carter, we came across your Christmas message. Miss Claire Whitmore would like to meet you." I laughed out loud. Then I ignored it. Then it came again, and again. Finally, curiosity beat fear. The building I walked into didn't feel real. Glass walls, polished floors, people in tailored suits. I felt small in my worn jacket and scuffed boots. A woman with calm eyes greeted me. "Mr. Carter, she's waiting for you." Claire Whitmore stood by the window when I entered. She turned slowly. Up close, she didn't look untouchable. She looked human. "Thank you for coming," she said. "I don't know why I'm here," I admitted. She smiled gently. "I do." We sat. She didn't talk about money, or fame, or business. She talked about loss. "I heard your message," she said quietly, "and it reminded me of someone who once helped me when I was at my lowest." I frowned. "I don't think we've met." She nodded. "We haven't, not like this." Then she told me a story. 10 years ago, she was nobody, broke, living out of her car. Her mother had died. Her business idea had been rejected for the 100th time. One freezing night, she collapsed outside a hospital, convinced her life was over. A man came out, poorly dressed, tired eyes, snow on his shoulders. He gave her his coat. He said, Claire whispered, "If you can still stand up, you're not done yet." My heart stopped. I remembered that night. I remembered the woman shaking in the cold. I remembered thinking of Emily, sick inside, and how I couldn't save her. I remembered giving away my coat because it felt like the only thing I could control. "That was you," she said, tears filling her eyes. "You saved my life." I couldn't speak. "I spent years wondering if I'd ever find you," she continued. "And then I heard your voice, and I knew." Silence filled the room. "I don't want to give you charity," Claire said firmly. "I want to give you opportunity, respect, and a chance." She offered me a job, a real one, training, stability, a future. I thought of Noah, of that tiny plastic tree, of the message I almost didn't record. "I accept," I said. Months later, my son ran through a house with a backyard, laughing, safe. One evening, as snow fell softly outside, Noah looked up at me. "Daddy," he said, "do you think Mommy knows we're okay now?" I hugged him. "I know she does," I said. That Christmas message was never meant to change my life. It was just a man talking into the dark. But sometimes the dark listens, and sometimes kindness comes back when you need it most. Merry Christmas.